Hey everyone, welcome to HCH Coloring. My name is Heidi. Today we're doing part 7 of my completed pages catch-up videos, and this is going to cover the period of time from December 2024 until April 2025. And I'm going to try to cover a little bit more this time than usual, because during this time from December 2024 until August of 2025, my husband and I were not living at home. We had some major construction in our co-op apartment building. It was just huge. I'm not going to go into it too much. But yeah, we had to move out, and we stayed with friends for a couple of months, probably 2.5 of those months, and the rest of the time we rented a furnished apartment. So I didn't have all my coloring stuff or my coloring books, and I had to put everything in storage, and so it was, a little unusual. So that's why some months I didn't color as much as others. Later on, I ended up buying stuff because I didn't have my stuff with me. And yeah, anyway, so that's enough about that. Let's just get into the video. So first I have a page in A Million Baby Animals by Lulu Mayo. And it's the last page. This page is so cute. I love how this one came out. This drawing is so adorable. It's just so cute. So the main image is colored with pencils. I'm not sure what pencils they are, but they're pencils, and then the outside, excuse me, pretty sure was oil pastels, and then I think I must have sealed it with golden satin glazing liquid. So let me bring it up just a little. I really like how I did those mountains there. It's just so cute. So there's that one in A Million Baby Animals. And in A Million Kittens by Lulu Mayo, I did a page. Did this page here. And again, it was pencil for the main image. And I think I used some fine liners too, but I can't really tell where I used that. And then on the outside, I used an acrylic marker as a base for the background, and then I used Mod Podge Sparkle, which is glittery. I don't know if you can try it out. I'm trying to get it to sparkle for you. A little bit. It's pretty subtle. It's not super sparkly, but yeah. So this page turned out pretty cute, I thought. That was A Million Kittens. And then I did a page in Magical Mushrooms by Marina Turadz. Or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I did this page, which I love so much. I just love this. I love the illustration style, and these little froggies, the little winged froggies with the teacups are just so adorable. So this is all based with alcohol markers, and I bought some new alcohol markers because I was not at home. I bought the Art Pop alcohol markers, which I don't really recommend it stained this page. So the lighter colors, the yellows and greens, and it stained here too. Yeah, not good. And then let's see, what else did I use here? I used some sparkly gel pen on the tips of the wings. And I'm pretty sure I used, yeah, a little bit of pencil for shading, but not too much. And some white Posca or something. But yeah, I really like this book. It's super cute. And especially this page, it's adorable. So that was Magical Mushrooms by Marina Taradz or something like that. And then I did a page in Twilight Garden, just the introduction, or nameplate page rather. And I remember I did this when we were staying with friends. And this was with Inktense as a base, and then pencil on top. And there's white Posca on there. Oops. White Posca, and there's also, oh, there's some, I don't think you're going to be able to see it, some Wink of Stella on the butterfly. Maybe that's it. But I thought that turned out pretty nice. That was in Twilight Garden by Maria Trolle. And then in Daydreams, I have a few pages. This was one of the few books that I brought with me when we were staying with friends. So I did a few pages in here. I did this crab. And the crab itself is done all with Crayola colored pencils. And then the background was based with Inktense pencils. And then I went over it with, I think it was Prismacolors, to get it this, you know, darker at the edges look. And then I also have some white Posca on the gem or the jewel. Yeah, so I was pretty pleased with how that came out, and that was really fun to do. It was sort of like a mandala, which I love to do too. So that was, oh, I forgot I had more, more pages. Okay, the next one is this one, and this was all with Crayola pencils and a little bit of white Posca on top. And I don't know if there's anything sparkly. Yeah, no, I don't think there is, but I like how I did this. This is one of my favorite kind of backgrounds, is this kind of light halo of color behind the object. Just a suggestion of the background, you know. So I like how that one came out. And I have one more in here. This owl page. And I was happy with this one too. This one was based with Inktense pencils. And then I went over it with some kind of pencils. I'm not sure, maybe Prismacolors. I'm really not sure what they were. And then I also think I used Crayola Super Tips in some of these, you know, some of the smaller little areas here. Probably where it's like more vibrant. And then probably, oh yeah, some white Posca for the little, you know, magical bits. But yeah, I like these colors. These are some of my very favorite colors. And that was it in Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. And then in the Summer Nights Artist Edition by Hannah Carlson, I did a page, and this is the Artist Edition are the ones where it's like heavy cardstock, so you can do whatever you want with it. So I wanted to do watercolors, so I used the Gansai Tambi granulating watercolors to do this background, and then I went over it with some pencils just around the frog. And I did, it was water-based markers, sort of used as watercolor for the basing on the frog itself. And then I went over that with pencil for some shading. And there's also some Jelly Roll glaze. You can see that there, the shine. And some other sorts of gel pens and white Posca and stuff. But yeah, I liked how that froggy came out. It was in Summer Nights by Hannah Carlson. And then I have 2 pages in Dreamweaver by Olivia Whitworth. This is a book that's, hold on. I forgot to turn off the overhead light because it casts a shadow and I don't like that. So I had to do that quickly. This is out of print, this book, and it's hard to find. So I found a copy on eBay for a decent price, but when it came, it was colored in a couple of pages, and I hate that. I absolutely hate having stuff like that in my books, so I had to color the pages immediately. So I did this one, this double page spread. There are a lot of double page spreads in this book. This little crab here was already colored, and so I kind of tried to cover it up with Prismacolors as well as I could, and then I sort of went with that color scheme for the crabs. I don't remember if there was anything else colored in on this page. I don't think there was, but this is all Prismacolor and then white Posca or white something, I added some bubbles and little details here and there. But yeah, because at the time all I had was my Prismacolors. I had a couple of sets of pencils, and those definitely worked best in here. And I had very minimal coloring supplies at that time. The other pages that I did were this double page spread, and it's hard to show the whole thing at once. I have to kind of go back and forth. On this page, some of this over here was colored, like little bits in these things here were colored. So I just kind of copied what had been done, went with that color, and then finished it up with Prismacolors. So now that I'm looking at it, I feel like there should be more shading. Like it's all kind of one color here. It needs more darkness and stuff, but it's okay. And then this is this page. But generally speaking, yeah, I'm really happy with how these pages came out in this book, Dreamweaver by Olivia Whitworth. And then in Nature Odyssey by Chris Garver, I did a page. I did this one, and this was simple, just pencil on the fish. Maybe some watercolor I don't remember. The background is an Inktense, Derwent Inktense pencil base. And then I just went over it with pencils to, you know, get this like darker in the corners sort of look. Yeah, pretty happy with that one. It was in Nature Odyssey. And in Garden Enchantments by Angelica Scudamore, I did a page. This one. And this was done, I think, at a later time when I had sort of acquired some more supplies, or I went back to the apartment to pick up some of mine. Because I know it's Crayola Super Tips and other water-based markers, and I think watercolors for the basing. And there's paint pen on here, and gel pens, Posca, you know, lots of different stuff. And then I use some gold gel pen for all those little, you know, little dots to make it kind of look more magical. And oh, there's pencil shading, a little bit pencil shading. So yeah, this was just like a relaxing, fun, not too much pressure kind of a page. And that was in Garden Enchantments. And then I have this book from Eerie, which is World Legend, Fairy, and Magical Land Journey was the translation that I had. And I did this page. So this is a fairy tale or a legend called The Blackberry Girl, which is, I think it was a Cornish. I translated the little thing in the front, the little blurb. It's like a Cornish legend or something. I don't really remember the story, but yeah, so this page, it's based in watercolors and pencil on top. And there's some Jelly Roll clear glaze somewhere. I don't think you're going to see it. And there's some gold gel pen over here. But pretty simple page. I didn't feel like it needed a background. I didn't really want to deal with it, do it. So I like that. That was in, yeah, World Legend, Fairy, and Magical Land Journey by Eerie. And then in Magical Worlds by Joanna Basford, I did the nameplate page. And this was with water-based markers used as watercolor, like painted on, and then pencil on top. And, you know, the usual, there's some Jelly Roll glaze there, clear, some gel pens. The background is pan pastel, sealed with golden satin glazing liquid. And I remember I wasn't planning on doing this from the beginning, but I dropped my paintbrush at some point while working on this, and there was a big splotch someplace. So I had to cover that up and decided to just do this background. And I like how it came out. It sort of works, I think. So that was in Magical Worlds by Joanna Basford. And then I've got a couple pages in Mystic Tattoo by Neil Dring. And I did, oops, I can't open that. Just this little intro thing here. And this was Crayola Super Tips with pencil on top. And then this page, which was more involved, this was also Crayola Super Tips with pencil shading. These are really, really fun to do if you're in the mood for or if you like this kind of thing. This is a really nice book. It's hand-drawn designs, and he's a tattoo artist, I believe. But the Crayola Super Tips work really nicely in here. I was really happy with how they worked. And then I just did this little rose page on the back. And that was the same. So that was in Mystic Tattoo by Neil Dring. And then in Color Odyssey by Chris Garver, I did this page here. And this was, I think this was a watercolor base for the, the main image, and then pencil on top. And I don't think there's any, oh, there's some gold paint pen or gel pen for these little dots there. And then the background is one of those Dollar Tree metallic markers. It has a little bit of a sheen. Those are nice markers. So that was in Color Odyssey by Chris Garber. And then I did a page in The Lost Forest by Ghost Shrimp. And I did this page. This is a fun book. This is like kind of a crazy book. It's like this kind of stuff, which I really dig. It's just like totally wacky. So you can do whatever you want with it, really. So this one was mostly Crayola Super Tips. And I tried to do the shading and everything with the markers. And in most cases, like on the tree there, I tried to do the shading. Made these lights look like they were glowing. And the little UFOs, spaceships, like they've got light coming out of them. I did use some pencil, I think, to do a little bit of shading, but most of it is Crayola Super Tips. And then the background is, I think it's just pencil. Because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle. I didn't want to do it with markers. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed working on it. That was in Lost Forest by Ghost Shrimp. And then I did a page in Boule de Pois by Denise, what is her name? Diane Dufour. And I was doing, this is sort of an experimental page. So I picked one of the pages in the back that are one-sided, essentially, because I didn't know if this was going to bleed. My experiment was, I used Crayola Super Tips in a variety of blues to get this water effect. I just kind of scribbled in different areas, the different light, darknesses of blue. And then I went in with a brush and some water and just, went over it with water and tried to get this kind of watery effect. Bring it up a little bit. And it actually worked really well. And it didn't even go through. It didn't bleed through at all, which I was shocked about. And then I used some pencils for the shading. And I think I used the pencils in some of the areas in the background too, just to sort of deepen up the color in certain areas. And there's some white Posca or something too on that. So this was a cute page. It was fun. Successful experiment. That was in Boule de Bois. And then in Small Victories, I did a couple of pages. I did this page. And that page. Pretty simple and small. And then I think I had showed this in an earlier one. And at some point I did this little intro page too. And then this one I had shown previously. So I did this, the butterflies. And this was all with some kind of probably Crayola Super Tips, or maybe some other water-based marker sort of used as watercolor. I think that's how I did this one too. And then pencil on top, and then probably some gel pens and so on. This one has some gold gel pen in there. It's hard to see. Yeah, so those were in Small Victories by Joanna Basford. And then in Matchstick Mouse, A Rainy Day coloring book by Morgan O'Brien, I did a page here. And this was in the spring, I remember. Probably in April. And again, I used those same markers, and they stained the back of this page. And they stained this page, which, it just kills me. I hate that so much. I could probably fix it, but it just, I did come up with a solution for this, which I'm going to share at a later point, but still, it drives me crazy. So yeah, I did this, the blackberry picking page, and I thought it came out pretty cute. So I used alcohol markers, pencils for shading, some white Posca, these pages are just so cute. I think it's a little weird how I did the shading here. I don't know what I was thinking with that. It's a little strange looking, but oh well. But all in all, I like it a lot. That was Matchstick Mouse Rainy Day. And then in Mangatopia Cupcakes and Kitties by Maddie Morales, I did a page in here. This is a very cute book. Again, with the staining. It drives me crazy. Stupid markers. So yeah, I use those Art Pop markers here. And I mean, they're decent markers. They're not bad, except the fact that they stain, and some of them were dry. Well, actually, they're not great. They were more expensive than they needed to be. Some of them were dry or dried out really quickly, and they stained. So yeah, not recommended. Anyways, so yeah, I like how this came out. It wasn't exactly pastel, but I tried to keep it kind of cohesive. Mostly, yeah, I did use a little bit of pencil, I can see. Mostly alcohol markers, a little bit of pencil for shading, and some silver gel pen. Yeah, I think that's it. So that was in Cupcakes and Kitties. And then more kitties. This is Whimsical Cats by Angela Porter. And I just did this page here. This was pretty simple and fun. This was a watercolor base, and then I went over that with pencils. And I'm pretty sure that's all that's on here. I don't think there's anything sparkly. But yeah, that was a pretty fun page. Yeah, it was in Whimsical Cats by Angela Porter. And then we have Night Garden by R.J. Hampson. And I did the butterfly. This page was done with watercolors as a base. Pencils on top, and then there's a bunch of gel pens. You can see the sparkle there on the wings. And on these little guys and those here. Yeah. And then I did kind of a halo sort of background with pencils behind most of it. So yeah, pretty simple and fun. That was in Night Garden by R.J. Hampson. And then in Colorianding Life by Malakara and Gale, or Gale, not sure. I did this page. This was another just simple kind of straight coloring. It was, the base was with Crayola Super Tips. Just having fun, relaxing. And then I did the shading with some pencils. But that's pretty much it. It wasn't another simple page. But I like it a lot. I like the colors. That was in Colorianding Life by Malakara and Gale. And then this book is one that my husband picked up for me when he was in Mexico. This is Colorear en Neon, Vida Salvaje, which is wildlife. And these books are, they're black with, white for the image. And the idea is that you use neon to make them show up. Some of the lines are tiny. So I'm not quite sure for a lot of these how I'm gonna approach it. But I did do this page. And what I did, I'll probably end up doing what I did here, which is alcohol markers, because it's just pretty easy for this type of thing and effective. Again, with the staining and yeah. So yeah, this was Art Pop alcohol markers. And then I used some metallic pencils on the wings, which actually kind of look a little bit metallic. And it gave a nice kind of sheen against this black background. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I used some gold gel pen there too. And in the bee's body too. Oops. But, so that was something a little different. Kind of fun. So that was Colorear in Neon, Vida Salvaje. And then in Mindfuls and Dallas by Julia Snegareva, I did this page. Now we're down into the mandala section of the video. And this one was Crayola Super Tips, I think, or some kind of water-based marker. And then I used paint pens. Did I do any pencil? Yeah, I did. A little bit of pencil shading. That's pretty much it, I think. You know, just relaxing, enjoyable page. That was in Mindfuls and Dallas. And then in Magical Mandalas by Alberta Hutchinson, I did this page. This was alcohol markers. I think it was the Art Pop, the Evil Art Pops. But this time I used my trick, which was going over the back with Mod Podge, and it sort of forms a seal so that it doesn't come through and stain the next page. So I do that regularly now with my pages, actually. Yeah, so this was alcohol markers, paint pens, or, you know, gel pens on top. That's pretty much it. So that was in Magical Mandalas. And then a couple in 50 Classy Mandalas by Camellia and Angel Kova. A couple, you know, simple. These, I tend to do these in between other pages just to relax and not have to think about it too much. But I enjoy them a lot. Alcohol markers, paint pens on top, some pencil shading probably, and then I did this one. Again, the same. I'm not sure which ones I used here. But yeah, fairly simple. I like this one a lot. I like the colors. So those were in 50 Classy Mandalas by Camellia Angelkova. And then I did a page in Intricate Patterns by Jade Summer. Oops. And this one took a while. I remember doing this one. This was a lot of fun. This was, I remember it was during the spring. Must have been in April. But most of this is fine liners. And also, there's some Jelly Roll Glaze on there. I remember using those. And I don't know what else. Some other gel pens probably. But yeah, I really love the colors on this too. That was in Intricate Patterns by Jade Summer. Just a few more to go, guys. In the Mandala Coloring Book by, who is this by? Somebody. I mean, I think there's an actual, it says Chartwell Books. It doesn't matter that much. Maybe it's a, oh, Claire Goodwin. Okay. Claire Goodwin. I got this for $1 in a thrift store, or not thrift store, used bookstore, because it was already colored in. So he said, I'll just give it to you for $1. And it's actually a pretty nice book. Simple mandalas, but you know, they're pretty nice. Again, with the staining here. Hate it. so I did this page. I think the coloring had been on underneath here, so I used some paint markers to cover it up. But yeah, this was alcohol markers and paint pens, paint markers. Yeah, just, you know, another simple page. That was in the Mandala Coloring Book by Claire Goodwin. And then an Arabesque Designs by Nick Crossling, I think this is. Yeah, Nick Crossling. I did this page, and look how badly that stained. I mean, and it went through to this side too. So we have Art Pop markers again, pencil on top for shading, and I think that's all. For this one, I had recognized already that it was bleeding or staining the next page, so I just cut out a little piece of paper and taped it to the back so it wouldn't ruin the next page. That was in Arabesque Designs by Nick Crossling. And then last book here is Amazing Patterns by Coloring Book Kim. And this book it's like different for me. It's like very, I don't know, there's just a lot going on the pages. So I did this page, but I ended up blacking out most of it in the background because I just didn't want to deal with the entire thing. Yeah, and once again, here we go, ruined. Oh wait, that's, actually no, not ruined, because I put a page in there to prevent that, luckily. So yeah, again, this was with alcohol markers and a bunch of glitter gel pens. You can see that sparkle. And yeah, so that is it. That's the last one. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you know, being here and watching my videos. I hope everything's going well with you and you're enjoying your coloring and whatever else you may be getting up to, and hope to see you in the next one.